born free.
And we will die free.
The time in between, though,
that's complicated.
In that time, governments, institutions, and our egos will limit our ability to find true freedom in this life. These are real stories of real people overcoming the odds, persevering in justice, and unlocking their potential. Welcome to Finding Freedom. Here's your host, John Oderman.
What's up? What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Finding Freedom here on the Lions of Liberty podcast network. Got a great guest for you. Going to introduce him in just a minute, but I got two things I want to talk about at the top of the show. So I want to move through this quickly because I don't want to, waste any time because we got a great guest today. First things first, sponsor of the show, my favorite coffee, Fox and Sons Coffee. That's Fox, the letter N, Sons Coffee, all one word. So foxandsonscoffee.com. You can fulfill all your coffee needs there. My favorite is the Den Blend Dark. I'm a dark roast guy. Start every morning with a big cup of it. So you can get 15% off an order of $40 or more by using promo code John at checkout. All right. Secondly, as Brian and I have teased over the past few weeks, big announcement coming from Lions of Liberty. And if you're watching live now, so I'm streaming on Thursday, March 27th, or if you're listening to the audio version, which would be on March 31st, this will be on April 1st. We're making a major announcement for the future of this podcast. So be sure to tune into this feed on April 1st to hear that announcement. All right. Without any further delay, let's bring Conor in. And my guest today, he is a young real estate entrepreneur, about half my age, and he's been doing some awesome things in this space. Today, we're going to talk about some of the things he's had to overcome in his young career as a real estate investor, how he's made some interesting choices, being located in California, but operating in states that are pretty far from California. So he's going to talk about how perseverance and finding the right mentorship helped him out along the way. Conor, welcome to Finding Freedom.
Thank you, John. I really appreciate it. Your energy is very powerful, by the way. I love it. But yeah, thank you for having me. Let's have an amazing conversation.
And I didn't say your last name because I didn't want to say it wrong. I usually ask pre-show, but how do you say your last name?
Yes, so it is Rueca.
Okay, Conner Rueca. I would have messed that up, so I'm glad I didn't try it. Conner Rueca. So Conor, tell me a little bit about yourself. So a little bit of quick background story on my podcast. So I started out talking about criminal justice system, really more like on the political side of things, this podcast was. And then 2021, 2022, I shifted more to entrepreneurship, health, and faith. I think I told you about that. And for myself, within the past year, I've pivoted my own career more into the real estate direction, into real estate investing. So bringing on people like yourself, this is the direction I want to take this show. So excited to have you here. So first question I have for you, you're 21 now, is that right?
Just turned 22 10 days ago.
22. All right, just turned 22. At what age did you start investing in real estate?
I began investing in real estate late in my as I was an 18-year-old. I did my first deal when I was 19.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's when I started my wholesaling journey.
So, I mean, how did it happen? You're 18 years old. You're in high school, I assume, around that time. Probably a lot of your friends are, talking about going to college, not even thinking about investing, ways to make money. So what pulled you towards that path?
Amazing question. There was a lot of outside people who played a huge role in that influence. Back home, my parents, W-2 jobs, 9 to 5, they're in high levels of corporate world, and that's what I
Mhm.
want, what I thought I wanted. But my best friends and everyone that for some reason I came around had entrepreneur minds, had parents that were doing really good business, mom and pop shops, retail stores, online businesses. So in high school, me and my two best friends, us three, we did run a small business. It wasn't a real business. It was a business where money came in quick and money left even faster. So when I went into college, this is my first year. I thought I was just gonna, climb the ranks, do my thing, get good grades, potentially keep working my way up all the way to a C-suite of a corporate company. But the president of the school, the student president, I was in his fraternity, and he said, "Connor, I see something in you."
Hmm.
I feel like you're more of an entrepreneur, and I'm like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Well, listen to me. I'm never gonna go get a job. I'm gonna die trying." And they were doing startups. So and he had the office at the school. So he was like, Connor, every single day this year, this is my last year, come to this office and just hang out with me and Ryan. This is Will Wang and Ryan Bailey. They're doing startups still. Come into our office and just watch us do our business. And I would just go in and I'm doing schoolwork, but I'm watching these guys just talk and just put their minds together and make money. So after that year of school, I went home and I was like, all right, I need to make a real business, something that's gonna last longer than this.
Mhm.
Make money quick, let money leaves fast. And it was after a long trip to the Philippines of me being by myself because this was during COVID. All my family got COVID, so I was by myself in the basement with Wi-Fi. And I was just searching about how to get into real estate. Right. I was like, that's like the only business that I can kind of put my mind together on, that makes sense, would be cool. And I had we had the flight the next day home when I found out about wholesaling, and I searched up how to get into wholesaling. And at this time I didn't know what a funnel was.
Mhm.
So I just clicked on the first one, put my information in for a free script, and next thing you know, like 15 minutes later, I get a call from this place that I just got, and it was called Wholesaling Inc. Are you familiar with Brent Daniels?
I'm not. No.
So he's one of like the top three with Pace Morby, Brent Daniels, Jamil Damji.
Mhm.
Brent Daniels' team had reached out to me, and I got closed.
Yeah.
Simply put, I got closed, but it was what I wanted to do. Right? It was truly I wanted to create a business. Wholesaling made sense to me, even though I just learned about it 30 minutes before. Um, and then I was just searching up, and honestly, it was by the grace of God. I talked to the person that closed me 2 months ago. So this is 3 years later, and he's not even a education high ticket closer. He's the actual real estate closer for Brent Daniels. And he said, Connor, you know what's crazy? I have never taken a student lead call like that ever. You were the only person I ever done it for, and
Really?
I don't even know why I took it. So this was truly by the grace of God to put me in
Yeah.
a position, and it's multiplied. I'm very grateful.
Yeah, it's interesting, and things like that when they just kind of materialize out of nowhere. I mean, that's God. I mean, I truly believe that. And when I think back to my own entrepreneurial journey, where I started investing in vacant land back in 2015, 2016, it's similar to you. It was one of those things where I was looking for a way to make money outside of a 9 to 5. I had a 9 to 5. I was looking for a side hustle. And that's just back when podcasts really weren't that big back then, but I was big into podcasts. Um, and I heard a guy who was talking about, buying a piece of vacant property at a cheap, low price, sending out letters to, distressed owners, buying it low, selling it on seller finance terms in order to maximize profit. And I'm just like, that makes so much sense. Like the same thing. So I, put my name into the funnel, as you said, went to the lead page, and I was closed before I even probably talked to anyone. I mean, I decided that's what I wanted to do, and bought that course, and that was my start. And I did vacant land flipping for I mean, well, I still have a few properties on sellers, finance terms that I'm getting paid on, but I haven't actively done it for a few years. But that led me to sub two from there. So tell me about, because I met you through Pace Morby's group, the sub two community. Tell me about how you found Pace Morby.
Great question. So I first jumped into Brent Daniels, did that whole thing, started wholesaling. Like I think as of that same year I joined, like within 7 months, I did 2 deals, massive deals, and then we just kept doing deals. And my brothers, I didn't
When,
even
when
share that.
when you say massive deals, let's talk a little bit about the deals. Let's zero in on those.
Yeah.
Talk about
So
them.
first 7 months of joining the mentorship and wholesaling, $0. I just started paying my rent during those whole 7 months, living by myself. I don't ask my parents for anything. 7th month, 2 deals end up closing, 65 and a 40K deal.
Nice.
So massive deals. I went from $0 in debt to myself. Mentorship was 6K, all the way to 6 figures. And that was crazy because I was 19 years old. I had not told my dad anything about the mentorship. I didn't tell my mom. So when I told them, I showed them the bank account along with saying, hey, I spent 6K and this is my bank account now.
Yeah.
So it was cool. And then after that happened, my brothers jumped on. So I didn't share this, but I do this business with my four brothers.
That was going to be my next question. So yeah.
Okay. I'll let you jump into that. But massive deals. And then I just kept doing deals. And then the following year is we were like, all right, we're only pitching cash right now. We're probably leaving a lot of money on the table. And we knew Pace Morby, creative genius. He's the one that I knew creative financing from. So we just jumped into it. We had good people. We knew people in the community. And we're like, all right, let's just do it. Right. I'm sure this community is amazing. Even if we don't learn much, I'm sure everyone says the community is everything.
Mm-hmm.
And they were not wrong. And that's how we jumped into sub two.
So let's talk about your brothers getting involved. So did you go to them with that check and say, look what I got here. Look what's happening. I mean, are they your younger brothers, or do they kind of follow you in what you do?
Good question. So I would be more of the black sheep of the brothers. So there's 4 of us blood brothers, and then there's one first cousin, and we're all 2 years apart. So right now we're 19. I just turned 22, but 23, 25, 29.
Gotcha.
And we were all just going to do what mom and dad did, right? Go get a job. My 2 older brothers were going to pursue their MBA, and they did. And then I'm the 3rd youngest, and then I have 1 younger brother. Okay, so I'm the black sheep. So I'm the one in high school and making the money. They're working. What's cool is my first deal got under contract in my 3rd month wholesaling, but it had to go through probate. It had to go through a couple things. So the deal didn't close until month 7. So I already knew 65K was going to hit if everything went well within that 3 months.
It's a big if sometimes.
Exactly. Massive if. And it almost didn't go through. Like the buyer was like, okay, Conor, like, it's been 4 months. Like, and he was just giving me a hard time, but they knew I had money coming in. So I would always just plant seeds. I was like, look, Alec, you're about to finish at Colorado Boulder. You're going to go to MBA. You're buying yourself more time. Do this with me part-time. And it was always just a thought. It was just me and my older brother, Alec. That's all it was at the time. And then when we went to his graduation in Colorado Boulder is the same day that the 2 checks hit. So it came in real time when all of us brothers are together, because we were all separated. I was in SoCal. My oldest brother was in SoCal. Alec was in Boulder, Colorado. My youngest brother was in Northern California. So we were all separated. So when we all finally came together at a dinner table for his graduation, I was able to show them just that whole success and tell them about it. So they were inspired right then and there, because they were like, all right, Conor really is onto something. So that following summer, Alec, the second oldest, joined me full time. He ended up going to MBA, and we just like doubled our income within like 3 months of just working together. Then my oldest brother, Grant, who was currently in MBA, he was like, all right, I'm about to graduate and I don't want to go get a job. I'm going to work with you guys. And then just I think the last three brothers, they all joined within like 2 months, full time.
That's
We,
wild.
we we still went to school, but you understand, like every other hour is working on the business. And the whole last year, 2024, was making sure everyone was trained and ready. So 2024
Mhm.
was one heck of a battle, because that means, I have to play CEO, but I also have to train all my brothers, and there was a lot of things going on. But that's how like we kind of came together. It was just me, one joined, a couple months go by, success, another joined, more success, another joined, and then we never went back.
So that's an interesting point I want to dig into, like talking about training your brothers. Like people who are listening might not have an understanding when you talk about like building a real estate team. Not everyone normally does everything. Maybe over time people learn, different roles, cross-functional roles. But typically you're going to have your acquisition side. You're going to have your disposition side. Those who are going out looking for your buyers. Your acquisition people are finding the properties. You're going to have an integrator who's going out looking, finding those leads, putting together the systems and everything. You'll have someone, normally on the finance side who's going out and finding the money, finding people to lend. So how have you managed those different roles with your brothers?
Super fire question. For us, we knew when it comes to real estate, when it comes to business, it's all about communication.
Mm-hmm.
And like we have to be able to communicate fluently about specific things, about business, about real estate, houses, etc. So the first thing that we did was, okay, you're not going to learn anything about this business. You're just going to hop on sales calls. All right. So we tested each one of them what they liked, right? So we were wholesaling, and we still only
Mm-hmm.
wholesale usually. So there's a dispo side, selling deals, acquisition side, acquiring contracts or acquiring deals. Um, Essentially, we put all three of them into just different calls on both sides. My youngest brother really enjoyed talking about houses and like negotiating,
Mm-hmm.
negotiating with the seller. The other ones like to sell the houses, and we just mastered that. When it comes to the training, it was all role play.
Yeah.
Right? It's truly, when it comes to sales, it's all role play, and tonality. So that's all we trained for like the first 6 months, just role play every single day. We would even like if we walked past each other in the house, we would drop an objection to each other, and they have to answer it, or there would be like a consequence. Like if you don't answer it right, like hit 50 push-ups or something like
That's awesome.
that, right? So we try to make it a game, because if you don't do that with your brothers, in my opinion, then the growth moves slower. Right? What I've noticed is if I'm not hard on them, they're going to maybe not just not take it as seriously as they should, right?
Mm-hmm.
So I was really, really hard on my brothers, and there was positives from that, and there was a lot of negatives from it. But in terms of training, just really making sure they're comfortable talking about the topic. And then from there on out, then they can learn the ins and the outs, and the different creative processes that we can go through, the transaction coordination, talking to lawyers,
Mm-hmm.
talking to attorneys. Like, I made sure that they could talk to our clients first, and it worked.
Yeah. No, I think that's a smart path, because that's the core of the business, right? Being able to talk to clients, being able to talk to sellers, talk to buyers. I love that. And it's so funny. You do have to make it fun too. Yeah, and you got, I mean, brothers are going to be competitive. So if someone's not living up to it, if someone messes up, yeah, drop 50 push-ups. I love that. It's awesome. So let's talk a little bit about how you have your business like structured today. So we were talking pre-show, you're in California. Sounds like you have some brothers that are in different parts of the country. Where are you primarily looking to acquire real estate today?
So today we are looking to acquire in 3 different markets: Savannah, Georgia, Knoxville, Tennessee, and Polk County, Florida.
Hmm.
And that's where most of our marketing dollars go to there as well. So probably 75% of our deals go wholesale because we're virtual, and we just did our one and only virtual flip. We might do them years later, but we're never going to do a virtual flip again. That was just an ugly deal, and it didn't make sense. We made money, but it was not worth it in our
Yeah.
opinion. But most of our deals go wholesale, and then we'll cherry pick the creative deals. And what we do is we sell lease option.
Okay. And for those that don't know, so wholesale means that Conor and his brothers, they're not actually buying the property themselves. They're putting it under contract and then assigning that contract to an end buyer. And you just said you're normally doing that through a lease option, right?
If we buy the house, then we lease option it. But if it's
Gotcha.
just regular wholesale, we just
Makes
assign
sense.
it over.
Makes sense. Yeah. So let's talk about doing this virtually. What kind of hurdles do you run into being on the other side of the country from the market you're working in?
After doing it for 2 years, I believe that if we were in person, we would get way more deals. Okay. So that's
Mhm.
after doing a lot of deals already, doing it virtually. But what I'm thinking, like, the thing is, when you're virtual, you can't close in person.
Yeah.
Everything is over the phone. And what we've done to try to beat that, because we have a friend, our best friend, Marcel Sunday. I'm not sure if you know him. He lives in Savannah. And if we need to close in person, we shoot it to him, and his close rate is like almost at 90% every time we
Wow.
put him on an appointment. He closes 90% of the appointments we put him on. So we know, we're like, dude, if we were there, we could probably make that like 95, even almost 100 if we walk the property. And so what it is you can't see them. So what we've done is we've taken closing calls to Zoom calls. So this is
Mhm.
really important. If you're virtual and you have the time to jump on a Zoom call with your seller, 1000% jump on the Zoom call and close them face to face like this.
And are you working exclusively direct to seller and not direct to agent?
Right now, majority of our deals is direct to seller. We still have direct to agent happening in our system. Not on market stuff. It's all relationship building and seeking off-market deals and pocket listings. So we'll get that here and there, and we'll lock up some deals. We'll do deals that way, but most of our money is spent direct to seller.
Yeah. Do you think that's important to pick one or the other, or do you think you can have success kind of doing both?
I believe you can have success doing both with the correct system.
Hmm.
If you're starting out, I would pick one and stick to that one. I like to say that your wholesaling business is like a castle, and the foundation is the marketing bricks. That's what I like to say. So you have to, in our opinion, you have to have one perfect marketing brick placed perfectly, and then you can go to the next one. Um, so like if you're doing direct to seller and direct to agent, those are two different marketing channels. I recommend you choose one.
Hmm.
Direct to seller costs more, but you will likely have better conversations and better deals. Direct to agent costs less, and you'll get more deal. In my opinion, you might get more deals over time.
Hmm.
Um, and it's also, I think it's easier to get a deal on direct to agent.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that. I've done a little bit of both. Definitely over time, building relationships with agents, and then they can bring you deals. I can see that as well. But yeah, you're saying from a marketing standpoint, lead acquisition is cheaper direct to seller though to get those leads. Is that what you said, or am I misstating that?
Uh, To get leads, I mean, it depends what you're talking about. I mean, if you're like not cold calling too much, but if you're cold calling a lot, cold calling can still cost a lot. For
Hmm.
direct to agent, it's like an SMS if you have like a system.
Yeah.
like maybe phone call. So I would personally say direct to agent is wrong, but you tell me, what do you think?
Okay. I don't know. So we're experimenting now um, with using AI
Okay.
to qualify our leads, and right now we're doing exclusively direct to agent.
Hmm.
Um, but I don't know. I mean, we looked at using Facebook ads and Instagram ads in a direct to seller model, but that was just proving to be too expensive, at least through those platforms, at least the way we were doing it. Maybe we were doing it wrong, but I don't know what you found on your side. Is that something, do you align with that, or what have you found?
Yeah, no. Direct to seller online ads or paid ads is super expensive, super, super
Hmm.
expensive. And it's still competitive, right? Because they're filling out more than just yours, right?
Yeah.
Direct to agent could be extremely exclusive at times, right? Like you could be the only one seeing this pocket list and you make an offer and it works out. What I'm thinking is, how much do you know how much each AI message is? Because for us, it's like 3 cents.
Yeah, that adds up, and that's something that we've found out that because we'll have different campaigns set up, right? So you can put an agent into a nurture campaign if they don't have a property right now, but we've learned over time, like, to put them in that you only want to put agents that you really think there's a future relationship with in that nurture campaign. Otherwise, you're just burning cash.
Yeah, what we do, if you don't mind me sharing,
Yeah,
what
we
we
know. Let's dig into it.
what we do with agents is we have our CRM. So we'll throw a list of agents into the CRM, and we'll run something that we call the DTA initial outreach. So we'll do an outreach campaign to this list of agents, and it is as simple as, "Hey, I'm looking to buy a house. Can you help me?" Super, super simple stuff.
Hmm.
If they reply positively or neutrally, it goes into one column. Let's just say column A. If they reply negatively, like a F bomb or something negative, never stop, no, nah,
Hmm.
it puts it into column B. We only call column A. We don't even call the initial outreach people. We only
Yeah.
call agents that are replying positively. We'll call them, we'll qualify them really quickly on the phone, and then we'll throw them into a DTA relationship nurture. And that's where we'll have AI and automations kind of taking care of them and reaching out. I think it's emails, it's like 15 to 17 days back and forth, and then
Hmm.
SMS 15 to 17 days back and forth.
Yeah, that makes sense. So is that are you the chief integrator for your team?
I am the chief integrator of the team. I'm really looking at the back end stuff and optimizing. Um, yeah.
Hmm. So your personality, I've heard that you're more of an introvert, which doesn't really come across right now in this podcast. But how have you navigated being an introvert in, a business where it's talking on the phone, it's connecting with people, it's building relationships?
Yeah, that's a good question. I would say I'm an integrator with strangers, but I feel like if we have like the same vibes, or we have the same interests, whether we're talking about business, like I love talking about shop. I love talking shop.
Hmm.
You know what I mean? That's like my favorite thing. I'll talk shop on a cigar or something like that all
Yeah.
night long. And I guess just for me, like there's no really option for me to be an introvert or an extrovert when it comes to these kind of conversations. There's no
Yeah.
option because one, um, if I have value to give, I want to give that value to the person I'm connecting with. And usually with the people I'm around, they're doing the exact same thing for me. So there's like I need to give back and I can't hold it in. Two, I believe God uses people to speak to others.
Hmm.
There's been so many times where someone has spoke something to me and I know it really was from God, whether it was perfect timing or the exact thing was said, or when it was said, like my ears like perked up and I got a weird feeling. So I know, I will hold back my words if it's not something super important or valuable, but if it is of value to the conversation, I'm saying it because you might need to hear it.
Hmm.
And I feel like me and all my brothers, we have that and do that. So, it, at least if we do that, it leaves no room for error. It leaves no room for like, gatekeeping and stuff like that, or, uh, what am I trying to say? Regrets
Yeah.
in conversations, right?
I love how you said it's not an option. I mean, that is such a good way to look at it, because I feel like in today's world, there's so many people who, they want to put a label on something. I just did now, saying introvert, extrovert. I'm more introverted. Like if I'm in a like you said there, if I'm in a room full of people I don't really know, I'll kind of hold back a little bit. But if I'm with a group of friends, or like you, if we're talking business, talking shop, talking something I'm passionate about, I mean, people might think I'm coming across extroverted. On a podcast, I might come across as an extrovert. So really, like those labels mean a little bit, but in certain circumstances, like you said, I mean, it's not an option. And tying that back to, you know, following God's will, if something is put in front of us, if a person is put in front of us and it's on our heart to say something, we don't have an option. We have to. So that's really cool. I like the way you kind of tied that all together there. So you're 22 years old. You're a young guy. You've built this real estate business with your brothers. Uh, Really unique position to be in. Like a lot of people probably would kill to be in this position. I mean, I'm sure there's days that are rough, and there's times you and your brothers probably don't get along. Has there been any sort of like really stressful moment or stressful deal, or like any point in time where it kind of like made you question, like, am I doing this the right way, or should we change something?
We have gone, like, 2024 was a massive battle, year long, in terms of financials, our properties, deal flow. Like, it was just a battle in
Mm-hmm.
all different aspects. And before we went into 2024, when we all got together and started the business, we put one pillar up, that would hold us together. And that pillar was, we call it Bible proven. Bible proven.
Mm,
Everything that we do in business and every day, surrounded around whatever we're trying to build our enterprise, is that it has to be Bible proven. And we understand that, like, it's not going to be like this. It's never just going to be a hockey stick, right? It
yeah.
truly is going to be like this for a lot longer than you expect it to be. And we thought, okay, when 2024 started, we hit some massive obstacles, and we thought, all right, cool. Probably around May, June, it's going to line up. It's the summer. Things are going to start happening. We're going to the Philippines for 3 weeks in August. It's going to be chilling by then. The whole year was like that. But since whatever decisions we made was Bible proven in our perspective of the Bible, we had just full trust that, like, God will bring us out on top at the end of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And he did. He did. And I think it's definitely all mindset, right? And what you follow, because what we went through probably would have smashed a lot of businesses, especially with all five
Yeah.
of us. We split everything 50-50. So any profits that we take home, I'm not getting I'm not even getting half of that profit. I'm getting 20% of the profit,
Right.
right? So we are, and it's still like that, and it's likely not going to change unless someone goes into another business and there's like some equity, sweat equity that we kind of put into play. But we just have full trust that even though what we're going through is supposed to happen, and we already know we're super young, right? So what we see is, okay, we're in our 20s. There's no doubts that we are going to get where we want to by 30s, even low 30s, right? So what we're playing, the perspective that we're playing with every single day is, hey, this is a playground for us. Like, we're still kids, in the
Mm-hmm.
entrepreneur world. Like, we are competing with 50, 60, 40-year-olds right now at 20 years old.
Yeah.
Let's use this as a playground to really understand the game of life, to understand entrepreneurship. So we're doing things, understanding that in the playground we might fall off the play structure and break our leg.
Mm-hmm.
Every day we go with that, but we know that we're going to go to the hospital, we're going to get bandaged up, and soon enough our leg is going to be fully healed and stronger, right? With better leg, with better bones and better, muscles around it. So that's like the perspective. We are just trying to remain super humble and understand what God is doing to us, even though, like in the Bible says, you will never understand until time comes. Um, but that's all it is. And then we battled it all 2024, so we know it's real.
Yeah, that's super interesting. And to have that alignment with your brothers on, it's got to be biblical. That's just incredible. And to have an understanding of how young you are to keep things in perspective. I mean, you got the right mindset. I'll tell you that right now. That's awesome. But you talked about where you want to be. Right now you guys are in your 20s. It's a playground. Kind of, you can free will. You're not afraid of making mistakes. You're not afraid to take risks. Maybe as somebody who's in their 50s or 60s might be more afraid. So where do you guys want to take this to? Where do you see yourself 10, 15, 20 years from now?
This is something that us and the brothers are not good at, because there's five perspectives, there's five minds. I mean, I'm sure if we were just two, we could be like, all right, we're going to be doing this, probably doing this industry in this business, making this amount. But since there's five of us, like, it's actually in our eyes yet not imaginable to put like on paper. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like saying like, oh, okay, I'm gonna have uh, I'm gonna, I don't know, have a big house with all the brothers. We have a vision only. We don't have anything on paper, and the vision is this: we have a compound, and all of us and our wives and our childrens are living within a compound with walls, all in one area. We have a center house where we spend our times together with our family in the evenings, because that's what we do today. We all live together and we do everything together. We know that, when we start getting wives, when we start getting families, that's when families split apart.
Mm-hmm.
We want to make sure when that comes, because that's coming probably in the next 4 to 5 years, that does not happen. So the vision is very clear in terms of we're still going to live together, and our brotherhood is going to remain the same regardless who we marry and what kids we have. Right. So we
Yeah,
have that.
and if I can insert there, like the biggest thing that why families split apart like that and brothers and sisters move to different states, it's for income. It's for the W-2. So if you have that solved, then that's one big cause you're addressing.
Yes, exactly. So we're trying to do that all together. Another vision that we see is, I eventually think that one of us is going to become a pastor or a part-time pastor, and we'll have some churches around the world.
That's awesome.
That's something that we 100% are going to do. In terms of business and industry, we know we're going to be in the real estate game, but we don't know what industry we're going to be in. Okay. And the reason being is because I am super good at building a business from 0 to 6 figures. My brothers are better at building it from 6 to 7. So that's what happened with the real estate business. Wholesaling business, we've been doing it for 3 years. I took it to zero to multiple 6 figures, and they've been taking it from 6 to 7 ever since I left. So last year, I actually stepped out of the real estate business.
Okay.
And I'll share this. You might not know this. And I've started a software company, a CRM company, which is vertical to real estate. My clients are wholesalers and investors. They JV with the wholesalers and investors that connect to it. So it's still
Gotcha.
vertical. We still align. And we're talking every single day. They're literally upstairs making phone calls to sellers and buyers right now. So we're kind of dabbling right now into real estate, single family only, and land. Dabbling in software right now and selling software as a service. What we see happening is, okay, I build this to multiple 6 figures. Alec comes into here. The three brothers keep building the real estate. Alec manages this, operates it to 6 to 7, and I have to go and get another business from 0 to 6. So what we see is multiple businesses, right? Because we're not always going to have to be, all 5 of us together. Like we envision ourselves having up to eight to 10 businesses, probably at the most between all of us five. Um, and that's the only vision that we have right now in terms of business. We know that money is going to come because we know that God provides. And for us, it's just like, having a fruitful life and sharing the gospel and just being believers and disciples and good people, because we know that one day we're going to have to come to that. And that's
Yeah.
that's all that matters.
Yeah. We can't take all our money and houses and all the material things we have. Can't take that with us. Absolutely
Mhm.
right. So tell me a little bit more about the software business. We're coming up on the end of the show here, but what services are you offering? You said it's aligned with real estate. How are you going about building that business?
Yeah, so this is a CRM business.
Mm-hmm.
So the CRM is what most wholesalers and investors use to nurture their leads, maybe generate leads, but usually nurture their leads, whether it's sellers, agents, or buyers. So I had built one for capable house buyers, which is our business, early on last year. And when I built it, within 2 months, we already had a CRM, but we ended that subscription, then jumped onto the one that I made. And this is made through Go High Level. It's called
Mm-hmm.
Close Level. When we jumped on, there was just massive growth because our leads were actually getting followed up with using automation. Okay. So we were just automating our follow-ups, making it so much easier, making a true sales process, not talking about hot lead, warm lead, cold lead. Now there's like an untouched, a ghosting, a needs underwriting, offer needed. Like there's a sales stage for each step of the sales process. And when that went successful, I was like, okay, executive decision here. There's 5 of us in this business. Doesn't work out, right? Reed, you're doing transaction coordination. You should not be doing that. You know what I mean? So
Mm-hmm.
I was like, all right, executive decision. I'm going to scale this business starting right now. And I'm putting 100% of my time. You guys operate the real estate business. I will consult, but I'm not making decisions for you guys. So that's what it was at the beginning of last year. And I just made the CRM better and better every single day. And we've been marketing for around 7 months, marketing the CRM business. And right now we're at 53 users.
Nice. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Massive
Yeah,
growth.
that's really exciting. Very cool. So if people want to check it out, how do they get in touch with you to do that?
You could just go to closercontrol.com or Closer Control Instagram. Closer Control, very simple. And or you could just DM me or text me on Conner Rueca on Facebook or Instagram. But yeah, I mean, it's really important for wholesalers to just have a solid sales process,
Mm-hmm.
because the reason how this came out is last year we got up to 8 cold callers. So
Nice.
for anyone that cold calls, a cold caller, a good cold caller with good data can bring around 2 to 3 leads every single day. So at one point, we were getting around 25 to 30 leads, right? Including PPLs. We were doing a lot of PPLs at the time, 25 to 30 leads per day.
Wow.
And I'm sure, John, you know this for cold, if you've ever cold called, but
I have. It's not something I enjoy, but yeah.
yeah, the contact rate after a cold call is very slim.
Mm-hmm.
So meaning if we got 30 leads that day and we were calling those leads, we're likely only talking to 10, and the rest of the 20 are not answering.
Mm-hmm.
So that means going to the next day when we get a new 30, we still have the 20 from the previous day. So now we're at 50. From there, we're only talking to probably 15 to 20 on phone calls. So going to the next day. So every single day, like the untouched bucket was getting so freaking big. And what a CRM can do is essentially text those leads right away and get them on the phone faster, or get in comms with them as a closer, as a follow-up specialist faster. So
Mm-hmm.
maybe just text them instead of calling, because we only had calls at the time.
Then you have a certain amount of days. If there's no response to the text or the calls, you kick them out of the system. Or-
You kick them to another stage. So for us, it's they go every lead goes into untouched. We throw 10 days in heaven on it. You might know the industry name, 10 days in HELL. We believe in Jesus and God, so I changed it to
Mhm.
10 days in heaven. That's just a text message every single day to the seller, 10
Mhm.
for 10 days straight. And if they don't reply, then they get day 2, day 3, day 4. If they reply, it kicks them out of that.
Right.
But if they go through the untouched and 10 days in heaven without replying phone calls, text messages, emails, then it gets thrown to another stage, which is called ghosting, which is a text message one time every 10 days forever. So
Gotcha.
I recommend anyone listening to do that. Some people just have an untouched stage. The untouched stage, you want that to be very small at all times, right?
Mhm.
So what ours is untouched is 10 days or younger because it goes to the 10 days in heaven, and our ghosting is 10 days or older. They're the same lead, but they're just called two different things in two different buckets. So you can identify
Gotcha.
what is new, what is not.
I like that. I like that. Well, Conor, this has been an awesome conversation, and learning about what you've built with your brothers and how you've managed to bring to align all of your brothers together under a biblical principle is just awesome. And I wish you guys the best of luck. I'll be following along, watching to see what you do. But before I let you go here, let my audience once again know how they can get in contact with you, how they can find you and follow you on social media.
Yes. Thank you again, John, for having me. This was a blessing just talking about my story. It's amazing. So on Instagram, social medias, Conner Rueca. I'm gonna give my phone number. Don't go crazy on my phone, but text me. Just say that you got it from John's podcast too, so I know. Or Finding Freedom. 650-346-7907. Text me, hit me up. I'm just a regular person just like you. Nothing special about me. I just work hard and do and believe in Christ and do this stuff with my brother. So text me, hit me up, DM me, whatever. And we're gonna have a good conversation.
All right. Awesome, man. Conor Rueca, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you, John. God bless.
All right, everyone. That is a wrap for today's show with Conor Rueca. If you're someone who's in the real estate industry, I know you got some value out of that because I got some value out of it. And if you're not somebody who's done anything in real estate, maybe this is the first time you've heard a lot of these terms, maybe there's a reason why you listen to this podcast today. And maybe it's something that you should explore and look into. It's not for everybody, but it's definitely an industry that keeps you on your toes, and you get to meet a lot of interesting, innovative people. Like I said during the interview with Conor, I first started flipping vacant land back in 2015, and through today, where I'm now, Conor and I talked about the sub 2 community that is Pace Morby's community. I joined that about 7 months ago, and I've met some people in that time that honestly, it's crazy to think the impact they've had on my life in really charting my path forward. Like, it's completely changed the plans that I had for what I was going to do, how I was going to make money, and what I was going to do in business. So anyway, not sure what the point of that rant was, but felt like I had to get it off my chest. Maybe someone needed to hear that. With that being said, I want to remind you all again, if you're listening to this on Monday, March 31st on our audio platforms, tomorrow, big announcement from Lions of Liberty. Tomorrow, April 1st. And with that being said, I will see you all, I would say next week, but if you tune in on April 1st, I'll talk to you then. So between now and then, I got my slogan wrong at the end. Between now and then, always remember to keep your head up and the fires of liberty burning.